everybody, so it's Mickey. It is Wednesday the 13th of November, and I wanted to make a quick vlog for y'all about the breastfeeding class that my husband and I took. It is super bright where I'm parked right now, so if that's, you know, that's why I'm glowing in this one. And I feel very, very, very bloated today, especially in my face. You can see my cheeks. Anyways, what was I gonna say? Okay, yeah, Saturday we took a breastfeeding class. It was awesome. I really enjoyed it. My husband was able to go with me, and he actually enjoyed it. I left out the whole part that it was 2 hours and 45 minutes long. So when the lactation consultant mentioned it, my husband's eyes sort of almost flew out of his eyeball sockets because he was just like, what? And I just I was wearing my hair down, so I just sort of put my head down and sort of put my hair in my face so he couldn't see, so he wouldn't look over at me. And so I sort of turned into a turtle. Anyways, things that we went over during the class. There was 2 other couples there. We went over different positions, how to actually breastfeed. Gosh, we went over going back to work. We talked about using pumps. Oh gosh, benefits of breastfeeding. What else? Just a whole bunch of stuff. When to start pumping if you're not having trouble. When to start pumping before you go back to work, so that you and the baby have time to get used to it. Gosh, there was so much, but that's basically the majority of it that we spent time on, especially since all 3 of the women that were in there, me and the other 2, we all work. So it helps me that I'm only part-time. And the other 2 were full-time, so yeah. So when we came in, we actually got to choose our baby. There was several different babies, you know, laying on the table. They all had different expressions on their faces. They were all different ethnicities. It was just really funny because we just sort of came in. It's like, we don't get this choice when we go to the hospital. You know, so my husband actually picked one that was a girl, and she was the only one smiling out of all the dolls, all the genders and everything to choose from. She was the only one smiling. He's like, let's get this one because she's smiling. So that was pretty cute. It's like, okay. And our baby, like all the babies, that like their feet were curled and their hands were in different position, but our baby, her hand was sort of like this, looked like she was pointing. So my husband, of course, couldn't just like sit there and be serious the whole time. He's like, food goes in here. So he was being such a dork with this baby. I'll have to post some pictures. I know iMovie just changed on here, so I'll mess around with that so you can sort of see pictures. What else? Yeah, it was just really good. They have a class just for moms, but then they have this class that's for couples, and I'm just so glad that my husband was able to come. He didn't work, and that he was willing to come. Had I told him how long it was going to be, he probably wouldn't have been willing to come. But he was willing to come, and, you know, I think it really opened our eyes as to how much work it's going to be, especially at the beginning. Like, I know that it's hard to have a newborn, but I've never been on this side of it. You know, I've had plenty of cousins. I have my nieces and my nephew. You know, I come from a really large family, so I grew up with a lot of babies around. But I've never, you know, like, we leave, you know, when you're an actual mom, you don't get to leave your baby, you know. You have to take care of them. So yeah, like, I knew it was going to be hard. I just didn't realize how hard, especially the first few weeks. So it really opened my eyes, and I really think it opened my husband's eyes too. He honestly doesn't know what to expect, because he didn't grow up around babies. He, you know, he just has one younger brother. They're not really all that close to extended family, and they don't really have that many babies in the family in the first place. So yeah, when we left, we were talking in the car, and he was like, you know, I'm really glad I came. He said it was really interesting, everything that she had to say. And, you know, if they try to say that I can't take off the full 30 days or the 40 days that he's trying to get, you know, he's like, I'm definitely going to put up a fight, because, you know, he's like, I know that now, I know how much your help you're going to really need. And I know that, you know, some of the things that I can do to help you, and especially this being our first child. So I was really grateful for that, because I don't think he really honestly knew what to expect. So hearing it from a professional or whatever really helped. My husband's just like that. You know, I can tell him something, but he really won't grasp everything, or he'll take it with a grain of salt until he hears it from a professional. So yeah, that was cool. We did have one break in there for 10 minutes, and it was, I ended up just staying in there and talking to her and telling her, you know, asking her for advice, her professional advice on what I should do, or what she would suggest as far as, you know, my PCOS. It's like, you know, when I first went to go see my midwife, she did warn me that I may or may not have issues with milk supply because of my PCOS. And she asked me, is it diagnosed PCOS? And I said, yes, it is. We went through fertility treatments in order to get this far. And she told me from the perspective of, you know, if she were my lactation consultant, that she would have me start pumping earlier than 3.5 weeks. Because that's what she suggests, is to breastfeed exclusively until 3.5 weeks, and then start using the pump after you breastfeed, to prepare your body, and to prepare the baby for bottles as well. And she says to do that, I wrote it down somewhere, but I believe it was like every other day, or maybe once a week or something like that, and just work your way up until you go back to work. But for me, she did suggest starting that if I'm having issues. If I'm not having issues with milk supply, she says, you know, then start at the 3.5 weeks. But if I am having issues with milk supply after the first day or two, then she would suggest go ahead and renting a pump. And we had already told her that we were planning to rent a pump anyways. We are planning to rent over buying, because the rentals are hospital grade. Yes, it will cost more in the long run, but with that motor, I'm sure if I'm having issues with supply, it will help me a lot more than buying them. Yes, they're $300, but the motor just isn't as good as the hospital grade one. So that's why we decided to go ahead and do that. And you know, if I was not able to breastfeed, then you know, that's something that we can give back to the hospital, rather than having had spent $300 on something that I wasn't able to use. So yeah, so she really helped us out a lot, you know, gave us a lot of advice. Mentioned an endocrinologist in the area within the hospital system that actually works and specializes in helping women with PCOS and lactation. So she gave me that name. She can't refer me, so I have to go to my PCM and try to get a referral just as a precautionary, you know, this might happen. And so that if I am having trouble, I can go to her right away. So I'm definitely going to be doing that, be scheduling something soon. And yeah, so I'm just really glad overall that we went and learned a lot. And you know, we didn't see they did show us a movie that had, you know, lady parts, like nipples and stuff like that, but it wasn't like, I was expecting my husband to sort of giggle, but you know, he was pretty desensitized from the whole thing by the time we got to the video, because you know, they had the fake nipples out and stuff like that. So yeah, the most uncomfortable part for me was when she sort of quizzed us on the different positions. So she would say, okay, try this position, and then we would do it, and then she would tell us what we were doing wrong, or she had our partner tell us what we were doing wrong, because she said, you know, more than likely we're gonna forget, the moms are gonna forget what we learned, but the dads will remember. So that's why she really likes the husbands to be there, the significant other to be there, so that they can help us out with all this stuff. So it was really interesting. But that's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and go because I think I might be late for this class. I am at ACS, which is Army Community Services. They actually have a baby basics class. So I'm going to check it out and see what they have to say. So yeah. All right. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.